owned it before you could buy it. That is not a metaphor. That is the structural reality of every major IPO you have watched ring the bell on television while someone in a glass tower finished a quiet conversation about something else entirely. By the time the ticker appears on the exchange, the architecture is already poured and set. What the public buys is not ownership in the way the word implies. It is access. A carefully priced ticket to participate in the economic upside, partially, conditionally, and always subordinate to a class of interest that was constructed years before any investment banker drafted a roadshow deck. The game was not rig. See, it was designed. There is a difference, and the difference matters. Here is what actually happened before you were invited to participate. Mark Zuckerberg did not walk into Meta's 2012 IPO as a peer of the public market. He walked in as the sovereign of a structure that made the public market largely irrelevant to his control. Facebook issued Class A shares to the public. 1 vote per share. Standard configuration. The thing retail investors understand and institutional investors accept because the fees are worth it. Zuckerberg held Class B shares. 10 votes per share. At the time of the IPO, that structure gave him roughly 57% of the total voting power, while owning a far smaller percentage of the economic interest. The public bought real equity. They did not buy real governance. Those are two different products, and only one of them was on sale. Google ran the same architecture before its 2004 IPO. Larry Page and Sergey Brin created a dual-class share structure that let them retain supermajority voting control even as institutional capital flooded the cap table. They were explicit about it in the S1. They wrote, with a kind of aristocratic candor that most founders lack the nerve to replicate, that they intended to run the company for the long term and that outside shareholders should understand they were entering a relationship where final authority was not shared. Most people who read that prospectus process it as philosophy. It was, in fact, a legal document describing a power arrangement that would govern hundreds of billions of dollars in decisions for the next 2 decades. The dual-class structure is not the obscure part. It is the visible layer. The obscure part is what was built before the company was worth enough for anyone to notice. Consider what happens in the years before an IPO, when a company is still small enough to be funded by belief rather than evidence. A founder holds equity in a Delaware C corporation. Delaware because its corporate law is precise, flexible, and written by people who understood that capital formation requires predictable governance. The company is worth very little on paper. The shares are valued at nearly nothing for tax purposes, sometimes fractions of a cent per share under a 409A valuation, the formal appraisal process that determines fair market value for tax compliance. At that moment, the founder transfers shares, or the right to future appreciation on those shares, into a structure that will shield everything that happens next from ordinary taxation. A grantor retained annuity trust, called a GRATE, is one of the primary instruments used here. The mechanics are deliberate. The founder transfers assets into the trust, retains the right to receive an annuity for a fixed term, and if those assets appreciate beyond the IRS's assumed rate of return, called the 7-5-20 rate, which is set monthly and has been historically low for extended periods, the appreciation passes to the beneficiaries of the trust entirely free of gift tax. The Walton family has used variations of this structure for decades. The strategy is not anecdotal. The Government Accountability Office estimated that GRAT-based transfers removed tens of billions of dollars from taxable estates across American wealthy families over a period of years. The assets transferred were real. The tax on the appreciation was Structurally, zero. The timing is the point. A GRAT funded when a company is worth $20 million and then goes public at 4 billion captures that appreciation outside the estate. The same instrument funded after the IPO captures nothing useful. The window is not the IPO. The window is everything before it. Family limited partnerships serve an adjacent function. A founder contributes pre-IPO shares to a partnership, takes a general partner interest for control, assigns limited partner interests to family members or downstream trusts. The valuation of those limited partner interests is discounted, often between 20 and 40%. Because minority interests with no control and limited marketability are legitimately worth less than the same asset held outright. That discount is real, legally defensible, and actively used to transfer value at reduced gift tax cost. The IRS has challenged these structures repeatedly. They survive repeatedly, when properly constructed, because they reflect an actual economic reality about the difference between controlling and non-controlling interests. Captive holding entities, typically Delaware LLC sitting between the founder personally and the operating company, add another layer. They separate economic participation from personal liability, create flexibility for downstream restructuring, and function as staging areas for assets moving toward trust structures or family partnerships. They are not exciting. They are load-bearing walls. None of this is hidden in the sense of being concealed from regulators. All of it is disclosed in the forms that exist precisely to disclose it. The S-1 filing a company submits before an IPO contains the capitalization table, the share class descriptions, the voting rights, the significant shareholders, the trust arrangements if they cross disclosure thresholds. It is all there. It is simply written in a format that rewards patience and punishes distraction, and the vast majority of retail participants, and candidly, a meaningful subset of institutional participants, read the summary and skip the exhibit schedule. A sophisticated reader of an S-1 looks for the dual class structure in the prospectus cover page. They look for the list of 5% or greater shareholders and examine who holds what class. They look at the footnotes on the beneficial ownership table, which is where the trust arrangements appear. A sentence noting that shares are held by a revocable trust of which the founder is trustee, or by a family limited partnership of which the founder's spouse serves as general partner. Those footnotes are the structural map. They describe, in compressed legal language, the ownership architecture that was built before the roadshow began. The system is not broken. It is operating with precision. It is simply operating in a direction that most participants do not track. If you are building something, a company, a portfolio of assets, any accumulation of value with a realistic trajectory toward a liquidity event, the time to construct this layer is not when the event is visible on the horizon. It is now, while valuations are low enough to make the instruments meaningful, while the legal structures can be established without triggering scrutiny, while the window is open. The GRAT, funded at a $10 million valuation, does something the GRAT funded at $300 million cannot. The dual-class structure established at incorporation is defended by decades of legal precedent. The one proposed at Series C negotiations is a fight you will probably lose. This is not advice. It is observation. What the public sees at an IPO is a celebration of arrival. What a careful observer sees is the closing of a door, the moment when every meaningful decision about control, taxation, and economic participation has already been made, legally, quietly, and entirely in advance. If you have not thought about this layer yet, You are already making decisions by default. And default decisions, at the moment of a liquidity event, are almost never the ones you would have made if you had understood what was at stake while you still had time to choose. The door is not closed yet, but it will be.